Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya 'alas salah. Hayya 'alas salah. Hayya 'alal falah. Hayya 'alal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahil khabiril hakim. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wal wahidul qawiyul matin. Asyhadu anna sayyidana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh sadiqul wa'dil amin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man ittaba'ahu ila yaumiddin. Amma ba'du, fa ya ayyuhal muslimun, usikum wa nafsi bitaqwallah faqad faza man ittaqa wa khaba man 'asa. Ma'asyiral muslimin wa zumratal mu'minin rahimakumullah. Let us increase our taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by fulfilling His commands and abstaining from His prohibitions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us prosperity in this world and in the hereafter. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alamin. Beloved Jama'ah, in last week's sermon, we learned that being just trains us to be conscious of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala along with His creations. Today, the khutbah would like to make us learn from another companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom we should aspire to emulate for his generosity and contributions to the society that he lived in. The companion that is being referred here to is Sayyidina Uthman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu. Dear Jum'ah, Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu anhu was well known as someone who was blessed with wealth. However, the wealth that was given to him did not make him arrogant or stingy. Instead, he was very generous and donated most of his wealth for the betterment of the community. In a famous narration, it was reported that the city of Medina was once faced with drought, and upon seeing the dire state of his people, the Prophet ﷺ immediately said, "Man hafara rumah falahul jannah," which means whoever will buy and dig the well of Rumah will be granted paradise. Hadith reported by Imam al-Bukhari. Now, when Sayyidina Uthman heard of this, without hesitation, he stepped forward and became the first person to contribute money for the construction of the well, which proved beneficial for the community to fulfill their religious and daily needs. In another narration, it was reported that Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu donated hundreds of camels and trading goods to the poor and needy of Medina. Such was the spirit of giving that was displayed and embodied by this noble companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Beloved Friday Jumaat, Sayyidina Uthman's contributions were not limited only to his wealth. Instead, he also would impart his ideas and support the efforts of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he was made the leader of the country, he rolled out several initiatives for the benefit of the general public. For example, it was during his leadership that the Quran was compiled and rewritten into the format of a book that we see today. We continue to benefit from this effort to this very day through the copy which is famously known and recognized as Al-Quran Rasam Al-Uthmani. Jum'ah, from the story of Sayyidina Uthman, we can conclude that contributing is not limited only to one's wealth or situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the traits of a person who has taqwa in Surah Ali Imran verse 134, which reads, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. Which means those who spend in the cause of Allah during times of ease and hardship, and who restrain anger, and who pardon the people. Verily, and Allah loves the doers of good. Dear Jama'ah, the story of Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anh teaches us that contribution is not limited merely to that in the form of money. There are, in fact, many other platforms through which we, as individuals, can contribute to the community at large. Allow the khutbah today to share several suggestions that we can consider for our shared benefits. First, contributing of knowledge by educating the community. Dear Jama'ah, it is my humble opinion that imparting knowledge and education is and always will be amongst the most valuable and lasting form of contribution. It provides support and assistance to people who are faced with hardships by equipping them with solutions. For example, if we find our colleague who lacks the expertise to execute certain tasks, whilst we, on the other hand, are capable and experienced in doing so, then it is good for us to come forward and offer help by sharing tips and knowledge, or by encouraging them to attend programs or upgrading courses to improve their skill sets. Second, by contributing our time through shows of moral support. Dear Jama'ah, we understand that time is extremely precious and valuable to each and every one of us. Therefore, by contributing our time towards noble efforts organized by various organizations, our free time would be channeled towards people who are in need of moral support. For example, our time can be spent by visiting the elderly or those who have lost their loved ones, and even orphans, through registered organizations. The support, attention, and love that we share will add joy, purpose, and motivation in their lives. It is a means of contributions that will be greatly appreciated because even though it may go unnoticed and undervalued by others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most knowing, and He recognizes the sincerity in our hearts through our actions. Third, contributing our energy by volunteering. Jum'ah, if we are unable to contribute through financial means or creative innovations, we should then look at what we have that we can give. We should opt to contribute our energy to volunteering towards noble causes. Organizations such as welfare homes, shelters, humanitarian groups, and in fact even mosques around Singapore are always searching for volunteers to help ease the difficulties of others. We can help them by volunteering for their cause, preparing the logistical needs, distributing food, and so on. Jum'ah, volunteering our time and energy towards humanitarian and welfare efforts will reap extraordinary rewards. This has been stated by the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith reported by Imam Muslim, which means whoever relieves the hardship of a believer in this world, then Allah will relieve his hardship on the day of resurrection. Jumaat by volunteering, it is a positive step towards resolving conflicts brought about by any crisis. Hence, allow me to share some advice with those who are currently present. There are many parts in this world today that enjoy peace and stability. Our country, Singapore, is such example. However, we should understand and acknowledge that there are also areas which suffer the calamities of war and conflict. It is important for us to understand that this represents a complex phenomenon. It is not only limited to religion. We should understand that crisis and war is not the product of religion itself, but in fact, multiple factors come into play, such as power, cultural differences, economic interests, history, and much more. These conflicts can never be resolved instantaneously with the blink of an eye. Such issues require time, months, perhaps years, and in fact, looking at what is happening today, it might even take generations before a viable and amicable solution can be achieved between different parties who may hold different agendas. When faced with such conflicts and difficulties, Islam teaches us, the believers, two important lessons. First, in handling and facing these kind of conflicts, it requires calm and precise planning, coupled with constant efforts towards peace and prosperity in order to solve the issues at hand. And secondly, we need to be objective about the issue at hand and not allow our emotions or biases and anger to overcome us. Seek out opportunities to help and contribute to those who need them positively. Positive contributions will then lead to solutions. Dear Jemaah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with our efforts and let us increase our efforts furthermore, and may He enrich us with the spirit of contributing so that it will benefit those who are in need. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'anil Azim. ونفعني وإياكم بما فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم وتقبل مني ومنكم تلاوته إنه هو السميع العليم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات فاستغفروه فيا فوز المستغفرين ويا نجاة التائبين.
اللهم صل وسلم وزد وعناي وتفضل وبارك بجلالك وكمالك على ذين عبادك وأشرف عبادك سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. ورضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن كل الصحابة أجمعين.
Alhamdulillah hamdan kathiran kama amar wa asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lah iqraran bi rububiyyatihi wa irghaman liman jahada bihi wa kafar. Asyhadu anna sayyidana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sayyidul khalaiq wal bashar. Allahumma shalli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi masabihil gharar. Amma ba'du fa ya ibadallah ittaqullaha ta'ala fima amar wantahu amma nahakum anhu wa zajar. Sedang jemaah yang dirahmati Allah sekalian, khutbah pertama yang telah disampaikan tadi mengajarkan kepada kita betapa luasnya makna di sebalik nilai menyumbang. Kita telah mendengar bagaimana Sayyidina Uthman radhiyallahu an mengamati dan menjiwai nilai tersebut melalui amalan-amalannya yang membawa manfaat kepada masyarakat di sekelilingnya pada waktu itu. Ini merupakan hasil daripada didikan dan asuhan Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Saudara sedang Jumaat dirahmati Allah sekalian, dalam usaha kita untuk terus menghidupkan nilai-nilai murni tersebut, kita juga perlu memberikan sokongan kepada institusi-institusi yang melahirkan pewaris para nabi. Institusi yang dimaksudkan di sini adalah institusi madrasah setempat di Singapura. Ia memainkan peranan penting dalam mengasuh dan mendidik generasi-generasi yang bakal memimpin masyarakat pada masa hadapan, tidak kira daripada sudut panduan akhlak maupun agama. Pada hari ini, Madrasah Al-Saqaf Al-Arabiah telah diberikan peluang untuk mengumpulkan dana di seluruh masjid-masjid di Singapura. Peluang ini amat penting untuk memastikan madrasah terus mempunyai dana yang mencukupi bagi menyediakan program-program yang baik dan bermanfaat kepada para pelajar. Sumbangan para jemaah tidak kira bagaimana sedikit pun amat besar maknanya bagi para pelajar yang akan mendapat manfaat daripadanya. Maka dengan rendah hati khatib pada hari ini menyeru kepada saudara-saudara sekalian untuk tidak melepaskan peluang keemasan yang telah disediakan oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala pada hari ini. Peluang untuk kita turut serta bersama menyumbang kepada dana Madrasah Al-Saghaf. Sumbanglah kepada tabung-tabung madrasah yang ada di sini sebelum kita meninggalkan kawasan masjid agar kita tidak terlepas peluang keemasan ini. Semoga sumbangan itu akan menjadi penyebab kesenangan perjalanan hidup kita di muka bumi dan juga di hari akhirat kelak. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Wa alamu anna Allah amarakum bi amrin bada'a fihi bi nafsihi wa thanna bi malaikatihi al-musabbihati bi qudsihi. Faqala ta'ala wa lam yazal qailan 'alima tanbihan lana wa ta'lima wa tashrifan li nabiyhi wa ta'lima. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabi ya ayyuhalladzina amanu sallu 'alaihi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Wa raddallahumma 'anil khulafa'ir rasyidin al-mahdiyyin Abi Bakar wa Umar wa Uthman wa Ali wa 'an baqiyatis sahabati wal qarabati wat tabi'in wa tabi'it tabi'in wa tabi'ihim bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin wa 'anna ma'ahum wa fihim bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma ighfir lil muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات وقاضي الحاجات يا رب العالمين. اللهم ولي أمورنا خيارنا ولا تولي أمورنا شرارنا وارفع مقتك وغضبك عنا ولا تسلط علينا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا وحول حالنا إلى أحسن الأحوال وفرج ما نزل بنا من الأهوال برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم واسألوه من فضله يعطيكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقم الصلاة.